Welcome everybody to a very special edition of Focus. Today we are gathering together for a special rally in honor of Chof Ches Sivan, which will be tonight, Friday night. Shabbos is Chof Ches Sivan. Chof Ches Sivan is the day that the Rebbe and the Rebbitzin arrived on American soil, escaping from war-torn Europe, from World War II and the Nazis, Yimach Shemam. There is such a big story behind it, and Mitzvah Shem, over the course of today's rally, we are going to learn a little bit more of what makes this day such a special day. I mean, if not for the Rebbe and Rebbitzin coming to America, everything that the Rebbe and the Rebbitzin accomplished since coming here would have, chas v'shalom, may have never happened. So, number one, the fact that the Rebbe came here and escaped all the troubles and all the scary things that could have chas v'shalom happened. It's a big Yom Tif. And we, as Chassidim, gathered together on such a special day to celebrate this day. We're going to start off with a very special video. The video you're going to see is a video of the 50th anniversary of the Rebbe arriving to America, meaning the Chassidim were celebrating 50 years since the Rebbe came to America. And the Rebbe, after Ma'ariv, gave out a special kuntras, a special booklet with a maimer and information of the whole story of how the Rebbe escaped, and a biography of the Rebbe from certain years until a certain year. It's a very special booklet that was prepared especially for that year, and the Rebbe gave it out to the Chassidim. So we're going to see a video of this. Listen closely and follow along to the question, and if you know the answer, let your Rebbe know. Here we go.
Today we are going to ask you, why do we celebrate Chof Ches Sivan? Listen closely and follow along so you'll know the answer. Chof Ches Sivan is the special day when the Rebbe and Rebbitzin arrived in America after escaping from the war in Europe. This day changed the future of Yiddishkeit in America and the entire world. Chassidim celebrate Chof Ches Sivan with farbrengens and making hachlotas to add in learning Chassidus. Chof Ches Sivan Tafshin Nun Aleph was 50 years from when the Rebbe and Rebbitzin first arrived in America. That year, the Chassidim planned an extra special celebration. They put together a kuntras, a booklet, with the story of the Rebbe's escape, the Rebbe's many accomplishments since then, and sichos about Chof Ches Sivan. The kuntras discussed how lucky we are to have our Rebbe, and we must thank Hashem that the Rebbe was saved. Since the Rebbe arrived in America, Chassidus has been spread to so many more places throughout the world. After weeks of preparation, the day of Chof Ches Sivan finally arrived. The Rebbe spent the entire day davening at the oil of the Frierdiker Rebbe and returned to 770 late in the day. After davening Mincha, Reb Shneur Zalman Garari benched the Rebbe to have Hatzlacha in his holy work and bring Moshiach.
Und der Rebbe soll helfen, und der Rebbe soll ausführen seine Rotze, was will. Wodurch der Rotze von den Bäuberschen und der Rotze von Moshiach und der Rotze von allen Oves, als Moshiach soll Babesh kommen Yitzter.
Reb Yosef Gutnick, who was a Kohen, then benched the Rebbe, Birkas Koyanim. The Rebbe said an extraordinary sicha, followed by davening Ma'ariv. After Ma'ariv, the organizer had scheduled a short break before the Rebbe would give out the above-mentioned kuntras.
A break,
the Rebbe asked when he heard the announcement? That would be a waste of time. Immediately, the Rebbe began another sicha, telling us that we need to be Hashem's partner in bringing the Geula. Afterward, the Rebbe stood and distributed kuntresim for over 3 hours. Only then, at 1 o'clock in the morning, the planned Chof Sivan Farbringen began. The Chassidim farbrang together and were very inspired from this incredible day to increase spreading Chassidus and do everything they could to bring Mashiach closer. Today's question is, why do we celebrate Chof Sivan?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's move on to the 12 Psukim, our most powerful weapon to defeat the Yetzer Hara, and we are going to start today's rally with a Pasuk of Torah led by Captain Yankele Edelkop of Kita Daled. Yankele, take it away. Torah. Tziva. Lanu. Maisha. Merasha. Kehilas. Yaakov. Thank you, Yankele. Pasuk Shema, led by Sergeant Major Levi Goldstock of Kita Gimel. Shema. Yisrael. Adonai. Eloheinu. Adonai. Echad. Beautiful. Pasuk Bechol will be led by Second Lieutenant Adil Benjamin of Kita Daled. Bechol. Dar. Vadar. Chayav. Adam. Lirais. Es. Atmai. Keilu. Hu. Yatsa. Mimitzrayim. Thank you, Adil. Pasuk Kol Yisrael will be led by Captain Yosef Yitzchak Newman of Kita Hey. Kol. Yisrael. Yesh. Lahem. Chelek. Li'olam. Haba. Shenemar. V'yamech. Kulam. Tzadikim. Li'olam. Yershu. Aretz. Netzer. Matai. Masei. Yadai. Lehispoer. Keep it up. He remembered. Ki Korev will be led by First Lieutenant Daniel Abikasis from Kita Vav. Bring it on, Daniel. Ki. Karev. Elecha. Hadavar. Me'oid. Beficha. Uvilvavcha. Lasaisai. Thank you, Daniel. Pasuk of Vihine will be led by Sergeant Ari Emmer of Kita Gimel. Vehine. Hashem. Nitzav. Olav. Umalai. Kol. Haaretz. Kivaydai. Umabit. Olav. Uvaychein. Klayais. Valev. Im. Oivdai. Karaoi. Beautiful, Ari. Pasuk of Bereshis led by Captain Yoni Baum of Kita Gimel. Bereshis. Bara. Elikim. Ace. Hashamayim. The Ace. Haaretz. Thank you, Yoni. The energy is palpable. Pasuk of Vishinantum will be led by First Lieutenant Zevi Prus of Kita Gimel. Vishinantum. Levanecha. Vedibarta. Bam. Veshivtecha. Veveisecha. Uvelechtecha. Vaderech. Uveshachbecha. Uvkumecha. Thank you, Zevi. Yogaiti will be led by Colonel Binyamin Akoin Zarchi of Kita Gimel. Kita Gimel is certainly being represented here.
Yogaiti.
Yogaiti. Veloi. Matsasi. Al. Tamin. Loyagaiti. Umatsasi. Al. Tamin. Yogaiti. Umatsasi. Tamin. Thank you, Binyamin. Pasuk of Yohavta will be led by Captain Oshi Mazuz of Kita Hey. V'yohavta. L'reyacha. Kamaycha. Rabbi. Akiva. Oimer. Zeh. Klal. Gadol. Batayra. Thank you, Oshi. Pasuk of Vizel will be led by Major Yisrael Bronstein of Kita Hey. Vizeh. Kol. Ha'adam. V'sachlis. Briasai. Uvriyas. Kol. Ha'ilamais. Elyoinim. V'sachtainim. Liyais. Lai. Dira. Zo. V'sachtainim. Thank you, Sruli. Pasuk of Yismach will be led by Colonel Chaim Baruch Mervis of Kita Daled. Yismach. Yisrael. B'yaisav. Perush. Shekol. Mi. Shehu. Mizera. Yisrael. Yesh. Loi. Lismayach. Besimchas. Hashem. Asher. Sas. Vesameach. Vidirasai. Besachtainim. Thank you, Chaim Baruch. Guys, it's the last rally of the school year. And you know, if you add everything we've done the entire year, it's like, how is Mashiach not here? And just like the Rebbe escaped the gullus of World War II and came to America, and there was a Tnufa Chadasha, a whole new era, in spreading Yiddishkeit and Chassidus to the whole world, transforming the whole world. What better day to transform the world and end this Galus and bring the Geula, with Mashiach leading us out of Galus into the Geula, than today, on Chof Sivan. General Yaakov Shimon Lazar of Kitavov lead us with the most booming Admosai that's going to rip this Galus to shreds and bring the Geula now. Yaakov Shimon, take it away. Admosai! 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 Thank you. All the Talmidim, you all deserve a beautiful round of applause. Beautiful. We all know whenever we get together, learn about Mashiach, that is what's going to bring Mashiach. The Rebbe said that. And here with our Mashiach Minute is Rabbi Munitz from the Cheder Menachem of Los Angeles, California. Rabbi Munitz, take it away. Whoops. Take it away, Rabbi Munitz.
Some people think that Hashem put us in Galus, in exile, and He knows the right time to end it. What's the point of asking for Mashiach? We learn from Pesach Sheni that asking can be very important. We only got this Yom Tif because we asked for it, saying that we didn't want to be left out of the mitzvah of the Karban Pesach. That teaches us how important it is to ask Hashem to bring us Mashiach now. Because Hashem wants us to ask for the Geulah, for the redemption. When we do, we will get our biggest Yom Tif, just like the Jews got it then. We want Mashiach now!
Amen! Thank you, Rabbi Munitz. And now the highlight, or one of our highlights from our rally, we have a Farbrengen with a guest speaker, a Shliach of the Rebbe, Rabbi Mendy Hecht, Shliach of the Rebbe, to Prospect Heights, New York, has given from his time and his shlichus. Actually, this is part of his shlichus to Fabreng with us about Chof Ches Sivan. He has a very, very special, very different type of presentation. Listen carefully. Rabbi Hecht, Bechavid Gadol, take it away.
L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Dear Chassidim, dear Talmidim, how special it is to spend these few minutes with you and share a few special points and Farbrengen about the special, awesome day of Chof Ches Sivan, the day the Rebbe, our Rebbe, and Rebbetzin came to America. Where were they coming from? They were coming from a war-torn Europe, where the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, were on a rampage, already trying to take over Europe and killing Yidden. And the Rebbe, Baruch Hashem, with Nisim Beniflois and a help from many different individuals, was able to arrive at America. Now, just to think about this a second, what was going on and what was the Rebbe doing, I want to share with you a little map, if I may, and you will see what was going on then. So in front of me, you see on the map, you could see right now, we have Germany. At that time, the Nazi party, Yamach Shemam, was the power, the army, the party in power, and the person that was in charge, I won't even mention his name, was on the rampage to conquer Europe, and he had another agenda that wasn't hidden, that he wanted to kill out Klal Yisrael, Rahman al-Islam. First, he went to Poland, where there were so many Yidden there. And then from Poland, he took over France. And at that time, you have to remember, the Rebbe, after getting married, moved to Germany to spend some time in Germany and learning and davening. And then he was also in the university there. And then when the Nazi party came into power, the Rebbe left Germany and went to Paris, to Sorbonne. And again, of course, with davening and learning and unbelievable things that we only know now from different people of the Mesiras Nefesh, and helping other individuals and the Mesiras Nefesh that the Rebbe had at that time for mikvah, for every single koitz, every single detail of halacha, even to get a esrig that was from Italian esrig. They ever went on Mesiras Nefesh to go to Italy to get esrogim, the best quality esrogim, matzahs, every single mitzvah the Rebbe did an unbelievable hidur, all the time when the Rebbe was in Europe. And when the Nazis took over France, the Rebbe, they only took up the northern part, the top part of France. So the southern part was not under their direct occupation. So at that time, the Rebbe was first in Nice. You see Nice in the bottom of France, the southern part of France. You can see Nice. The Rebbe spent 9 months there. And at that time, he was promised that he's going to get visas to come to America. And the Rebbe got wind of it that the embassy there and the consulate is not going to produce it, and the Rebbe went from Nice to Marseille. And once the Rebbe got his visa to come to America, it was at that time he was able to get to, he had to go through Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon, Portugal. You see that it's from Marseille to Lisbon, Portugal is a over a day's travel by train. So the Rebbe traveled to Lisbon, Portugal, and he was about to go on the ship, and he got a telegram from the Frierdiker Rebbe. Don't board the ship. Now think about this a second. Think about this. You know that Europe and the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, are after every single Yid, and it's dangerous. You know that every single ship that goes into the water, this might be the last ship. And you finally, after weeks and months of trying, finally get this visa, and you have a ticket to go on the boat. You don't know if you'll get another ticket. And the Rebbe is told, don't go on the boat. And you know what the Rebbe did? He did not go on the boat. There was no questions. There was no second guessing. The Frierdiker Rebbe said something, that's how he conducted himself. It was later found out that that boat was actually taken over by Italy, by the Italians, and they actually took all the people from the boat and kept them hostage till after the war. So you can imagine what would have happened if the Rebbe went on that boat. The Rebbe would be still stuck in Europe. Whoever knows what would have happened then. But now the Rebbe lost those 2 tickets. How is he going to get up? How is he going to get to America? So there was a chassid, the Bestritsky family, that had 2 tickets for their family that could not get visas from France to Portugal, which Rebbe was in Portugal, so they gave those 2 tickets. The Rebbe went on Yud Zayin Sivan. The Rebbe was actually 1-2 days in Portugal. The Rebbe went on the ship. Now think about this, I just pointed out. The Rebbe spent a lot of time, or maybe not a lot of time as years, but days, weeks, months. And I just share with you all the things the Rebbe did in Europe. And it wasn't just things the Rebbe did. It wasn't that, by the way, the Rebbe was there. When the Rebbe was someplace, the Rebbe was turning over that place. The Rebbe said, Chaim Mushka told the Shluchim to France that wir haben geackert und gesät. We plowed and we planted, that you should be able to harvest all the work that we did in the places where we are. And even in Portugal, where my friend right now, Rabbi Eli Rosenfeld, is a shliach, the Rebbe wrote a reshima. He was there for what? 2 days, and the Rebbe wrote a full reshima about what? About Mashiach coming. That the Gemara tells us that Mashiach will come when there will not be a fish for a certain disease. And the Rebbe gives a whole lengthy beer, al pi chassidus, al pi nigla, very, very deep ideas about things. L'zakri, l'schus, l'chayiv, if Yidden are zeichod, Yidden are chayiv. But the point I'm trying to bring out is wherever the Rebbe was, it wasn't, by the way, I have to go here, I have to go there, or else I won't be able to survive. Where the Rebbe was, the Rebbe had ge'akert, the Rebbe plowed, the Rebbe had gezeit, the Rebbe planted. This was things that the Rebbe was accomplishing. But then came the day. The Rebbe left Europe. It wasn't safe. The waters from going from Portugal to America, the Atlantic Ocean, was very dangerous. You had the U-boats of the Germans, Yamach Shemam, that were doing terrible things and sunk many boats. Miraculously, on Chof Ches Sivan 1941, Tov Shin Aleph, the Yoim Geula, the Rebbe came to the shores of America. Unbelievable. At that time, the Frierdiker Rebbe sent shluchim to go greet the Rebbe. Now, what was the special boat the Rebbe went? I just want to show you the boat. This is the boat, Sorpa Pinto. This was a boat that was from a certain company that was officially able to ride the seas of Atlantic Ocean, and they brought many Jews back to safe land. So this is the boat the Rebbe traveled for those 11 days. And this was the boat that finally came to the shores of America. And at that time, the Rebbe sent the Eltere Chassidim, the Chshuvim of the Chassidim, and said, the Rebbe, you want to know, I'm wanting you to go greet the Rebbe. Who is the Rebbe? The Rebbe is somebody that every night says Tikkun Chatzois. He's Baki and Bavli, Yerushalmi, Rosh, Rif, Ran. And the Rebbe is buckling the whole Likkutei Torah with all the ayins. It means when you learn Likkutei Torah, it says, ayin, look up this sefer, look up this sefer. The Rebbe knows all those places by heart. This is who the Rebbe is. And they greeted the Rebbe. The Rebbe came to 770. That's where the first place the Rebbe went was 770. And in 770, the Rebbe didn't see the Frierdiker Rebbe the first day, probably because this was a very special thing. It was too emotional. And the Rebbe said Hagoimel on Thursday. It came Monday, the Rebbe said Hagoimel on Thursday. And then on Thursday night, they asked the Rebbe to Farbring. First, the Rebbe said Farbring after he says the Bracha of Hagoimel. The Rebbe said the Bracha, the Rebbe, that Kriyas Torah on Thursday morning, the Rebbe Farbring that night. And the Rebbe Farbring, and the Rebbe didn't just Farbring. The Rebbe, when he Farbring, he asked Bachrim their names, and he made connection with their names. And Nigla and Chassidus and Mishis, he started with Abot Shichem Lahoidos. There are 4 people that have to say thanks to Hashem. They bring a korban toida. One of them is someone who travels overseas. They bring a whole beer up, Nigla up, Chassidus. You could hear videos of the Bachrim that were there, that shared, that the Rebbe was Pasha going for hours with so much depth of Torah. It truly uplifted everyone there, and they saw that the Rebbe was something totally special, so special. And from that moment, there was an unbelievable derech eretz. Those that knew the Rebbe from before knew the Rebbe. Those for the first time, the American boys, the American Bacham Yeshiva, realized the Rebbe is something very, very special. Now the Frierdiker Rebbe says about the day of Chof Ches Sivan, that today, this day starts a Tnufa Chadosha, a new horizon, a whole new wave, a whole new development in Yiddishkeit. Began on Chof Ches Sivan. Let's think about this a second. On one hand, the Rebbe was a private person. He wasn't the Rebbe yet. But we know the Rebbe is geboren a Rebbe. A Rebbe is born a Rebbe. That means is that every single thing that transpired with the Rebbe is Negeah, the Klal Yisrael, to every single year. So today's day is Negeah to every single year. And by the Rebbe, it's not something that you have to believe in a Emunah. You have to have a B'tochin, and it's Negeah every year. By the Rebbe, we see how it affects every single year on planet Earth and beyond. What do I mean? Because when the Rebbe came to America, the Frierdiker Rebbe instituted 3 moises. America's Li'anei Chinuch, Gahos, and Machne Yisrael. And each moisid had many unique things it did. Gahos, the Rebbe started printing Sifrei Chassidus, one sefer after another sefer with Mara Mekoimis, with each one should have Mara Mekoimis and should have indexes in the back. The Rebbe was very big into indexes in the back of the Svarim. If you're looking up an in, you should know where to look it up in the sefer. So many Sifrei Chassidus that weren't printed, people didn't have. So Pashut people were able to start learning Chassidus. Yafutzum and Esech Chutza brought on a new level. Pashut learned Chassidus. America's on the Chinuch that Rebbe was involved in Mesibas Shabbos and programming that was release time and many different programs that were the Rebbe started overseeing with America Shlichus and different things that were already began from the Rebbe from that time. The Rebbe began at that time truly reaching out to city by city of America to see that Yiddishkeit should be strengthened. And this, the Rebbe said, this is Matan Torah on Chatzi Kador HaTachton. Yes, Matan Torah happened at Har Sinai. And yes, the Yiddishkeit flourished on that part of the world for many years. But now Yiddishkeit is going to flourish in America. And from America, it's going to go, in a sense, throughout the world as well. Because the Rebbe, where the Nasi Hadar is, and Nasi Yuakol, from there it reaches every single year throughout the world. So let's think about this a second. We are now celebrating this Shabbos, Chof Ches Sivan, the day the Rebbe comes to America, the day that the Rebbe empowers every single chassid to recognize that we have the ability and we have the responsibility to see to it that Yiddishkeit shouldn't only survive, but to thrive. So think about it a second. Each one of us, we're learning in yeshiva. We're in the third, we're in the fourth, we're in the fifth, we're in the sixth, seventh, eighth grades of yeshiva. We're learning each day. How could I make this something real for me? How do I relate to it? So obviously, it has to mean by me that I should be firstly, elated, elevated. I should be able to tap into the unbelievable joy and simcha of this special day. Niskorim v'na'asim. We speak about it. It's not only something of the past, but it's something of the present. That this Shabbos is a day of geula for every single Yid, every single Tomim, and every single Chassid especially. And it's a day that we can make Yiddishkeit real, not only in the things that are lofty or are holy on their own, but even the things that are low, in the lower parts of ourselves, in the places that we like to eat, we like to drink, we like to play, things that are not naturally special. We can make Yiddishkeit special there as well. And I want to share with you a few stories of people that I personally know, that are personally connected to me. But I think these stories share with each and every one of us how the Rebbe not only empowered us, but and encouraged us, but uplifted us and brought us to be able to truly conquer the world and bring Mashiach. So the first story I want to begin with is one of my dear father-in-law, Rabbi Daniel Yitzchak Maskowitz. Here you see a picture of him. He was the head shliach to the state of Illinois after actually my great uncle, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Hecht, both of which of them are of Aleim HaSholem, that Frierdiker Rebbe sent my great uncle in Tafshin Beis, 1942, and then my shver, who was a student of Rabbi Hecht, came in the 1976. And you see over here, so I want to share with you a story. The story what happened in Tafshin Nun Beis. My shver had many, many moistes that he opened in Chicago. And all those moistes, he was the man that was running them. Obviously, had many people working for him, but he saw to it that every moistes should flourish, should knack, should work unbelievably. But to do that is a lot of things, a lot of details that go into that, both physically and monetarily. And at a certain point, he felt that it's just too much for him. There's so much on his head and so much he's responsible for, he doesn't know what to do. So he only knew one thing. He knew that he is a chassid. He's a shliach of the Rebbe, so he is going to go to his Rebbe. So Shabbos, Parshas Lech Lecha, Erev Shabbos means Thursday. He took a flight, I believe it was Friday morning. They wrote a long duch, a pan, detail of what's going on in the Mises in Chicago and greater Illinois, what's he doing, what's he's accomplishing. And at the same time, the great burden and the great responsibility and yoke and what he feels like it's getting to the too much. So he wrote this whole, I don't know how many pages it was, many pages, and he gave it into the Maskidus on Friday. And Motzei Shabbos, I believe, was when he received his answer. Now remember, in Tafshin Nun Beis, not everyone got answers to their letters. Not everyone received a response to what they wrote, and especially so quickly. And what was the Rebbe's response? Listen to me, Rabbi Daniel Maskowitz, who just wrote to me a many lengthy, all the Baruch Shem brachas, but many challenges that you're having on your shlichus. What's my answer? This was the Rebbe's answer. Kiloshin Parsha Seinu, like the Loshin, like the terminology in our Parsha. Lech Lecha, go out, go. And how the pasuk continues, Va'ar Eko, Va'ar, and you'll see the Rebbe, that's the end of the pasuk. Nifla'os Bakoil. You will see, make sure I got the Loshin properly. Ar Eko, and then in parentheses, Nifla'os Bakoil. Wonders in everything was Tafshin and Beis, which year Tehei Shnas Nifla'os Bakoil. The Rebbe said, Lech Lecha, go out, and you'll see, and the Rebbe put in parentheses, Nifla'os Bakoil. And the Rebbe said, Asker al Hatzion, I will mention, I will bring all that you've shared with me on the Frierdiker Rebbe's by the oil. And my Shver shares with me when I spoke to him about this and all others. At that time, the Rebbe gave him the empowerment of Lech Lecha in a way that he didn't necessarily recognize within himself before. And he went out and he accomplished much more than he ever imagined. And any time he ever felt a challenge or shlichus, he knew one thing: Lech Lecha, I gotta do it. I have to go out and I will accomplish. And that's what he did. And there's so many more stories to share about this, but I don't want to, the time is limited, so I have to keep it short. But someone might ask themselves a question. The Rebbe said, Lech Lecha. Maybe the Rebbe's like pushing you. Go, you gotta do, you gotta do. Is that the way the Rebbe's doing it? So I want to share with you another story about my Zayda, Rabbi Yaakov Yehuda Hecht, that many of you probably have seen in videos or pictures with the Rebbe. It was Tov Shem Zayin, probably one of the biggest Lag Ba'omer parades that ever happened. And at that time, it was like any big event, there's a lot of details I'll go into and a lot of pressures. My Zayda was feeling what they call under the weather, overburdened with a lot. And he wrote to the Rebbe that it's schwer for him. Okay, he writes it into the Rebbe and asks for a bracha. He asks the Rebbe for a bracha, that the prayer should be l'maylam, and I'm sure more than he ever imagines, and that he should be able to do what he has to do as the Rebbe's chassid. So now I'm going to show you a video. He goes over to the Rebbe after the Lag Ba'omer parade. He tells the Rebbe, thank you for schlepping me out of my arei schlepping, for schlepping me out, pulling me out of my place where I was feeling under the weather. The Rebbe says, arei schlepping, I pulled you out. Oif goiben. You see the Rebbe's holy hands go up. In other words, when the Rebbe helps a chassid, empowers a chassid, he doesn't just take us out of our problem. He doesn't only push us, you got to do. He lifts us up into a place that we're going to knack. We're going to really do what we got to do. This is now, I'm going to show you the video. You can see it for yourself. This is the video where first the Rebbe thanks the children. Let's do this over here. One second, I have to share the screen.
All the Bachim, we are grateful to you for making this one of the most gorgeous parades we have ever had, and I hope the Rebbe is satisfied.
Okay, now.
Especially the children, the boys and the girls. B'nei Avrom, Yitzchak, V'Yankel, B'nei Sora, Rivke, Rachel, V'Leah.
And now you'll see my grandfather goes over to the Rebbe. If you listen clearly, you'll hear the Rebbe say, Oif Hoiben. See the Rebbe pick his holy hands and Oif Hoiben. The Rebbe said again, Oif Hoiben. Okay, so the Rebbe doesn't only help us and schlep us out, but the Rebbe truly lifts us up and brings us to a place that there's nothing that we cannot accomplish. There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can bring as a reality to ourselves. May it be that I want to daven, I want to say brachas in the siddur, and I want to actually think what I'm saying. I want to do good in my learning. I want to have more Avos Yisrael, be considerate and nice to my friends in my class. Maybe to play with them. Maybe to help them learn. Maybe we'll help out them to share with them a snack that I just have extra of, where I'll give him my snack because I know he's hungry. Each one, just to be sensitive, to wish him a good morning, even if he's not in my class, but he's in my yeshiva. Each one of us has the ability to go out of what we usually know as what's comfortable and be sensitive and do better. And the Rebbe gives us the empowerment. And I know many of us will go in the next few days to the Rebbe's oil and are going to say to the Rebbe, I want to be a better chassid. Rebbe, I want to be yours. And you're going to say to yourself, is the Rebbe really empowering me? The Rebbe going to really answer what I'm asking? So I'm going to share with you a cute story that happened with me personally. It's a cute story. I call it a cute story. But it's true about every single time a chassid goes to the Rebbe. This story happened before I was a shliach. I was a shliach in my community in Prospect Heights. I was a shliach in yeshiva in Toronto. And I used to give a shiur every single Thursday to the guys on Balabatim and Amichsoyim route from the Parsha. And I finished my shlichus in Toronto, at least in the yeshiva part, and I came back to New York, and I kept in touch with all the people, all the Balabatim that I knew in Toronto. And they called me saying one day they're coming to New York. So I said, of course, if you're coming to New York, you got to come to 770. You have to daven in the Rebbe's shul. I want to take you to the Rebbe's oil. Before the oil, we went to the mikvah. So they came. Their company is that they do marketing for companies on the internet. And one of their clients owns a limousine company. So they said, Mandy, don't worry. We'll have a car. This company is going to give us a limousine. So they pull up in front of 770 with a big stretch limousine, a big stretch limo. And we go in. So we go to the Rebbe in what we call in class. We just didn't go like small car. Choshev car, we're going with the 770, and they fabrang with me in 770. Then I took them, we went to the Rebbe's oil. They wrote a pan. As we leave the oil, somebody comes to us and says, can I get a ride with you back to 770? So I tell the individual, I would love to give you a ride, but I'm not going straight to 770. We're first going to the airport because these Balabatim are going back to Toronto. And only then was I going back to 770. It's not that much out of the way. It's in Kennedy Airport. If you want to take the detour, you're welcome to come. He said, okay. I asked the Balabatim if it's okay if they came with us in the car. He said, okay. So these two Bachrim come with us. They say, where's the car? So I said, come with me right here. And I showed them to the stretch limo. They start platzing. They start laughing. I said, a stretch limo is nice, but there's nothing to platz about, laugh about. He says, Mendy, you don't realize. Today, I told my friend, my chaver, I want to go to the Rebbe's oil. I want to daven by the Rebbe. So my friend said to me, on the way there, okay, we could catch a ride. We stand in the corner, we'll get a ride. But how are we going to go on the way back? And he didn't want to come because he didn't want to be, he wanted to daven the Rebbe's oil and then come back to 770. He didn't want to be that much longer. I told my friend, don't worry. The Rebbe is going to send us a stretch limo. And look what happens. Rebbe sent us a stretch limo. Now, this wasn't even in their plan, but this was something they said. And the Rebbe heard it, and the Rebbe sent it to them. He said it with sincerity that he's going to die, he's going to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe is going to take care of him. And how he's going to get back, it's going to go with a limo. And that's what happened. And that's what I want to share with each and every one of us today. For bringing together that when we dedicate ourselves and we recognize that the Rebbe says that this day is something not only special for him, but for Klal Yisrael, that each and every one of us truly has the empowerment to make a change, firstly in ourselves, in each part of ourselves, to truly uplift ourselves, and then to our friends in yeshiva, our communities around us. Let's take the day of Chof Ches Sivan and dedicate ourselves, like the Rebbe says, you guys, we got to bring Mashiach, and let's bring him now!
Yashikoyach Rabbi Hecht and Amen to that. Wow. Kenaina Hara. I'm living the day even more than before. Talmidim, before we finish our rally, we're going to say a quick kapitel till for all those who need a refuah shlema, including Chaim Shner Zalman Yehuda ben Hinda Yecheved. Say it together with me. Lam Natzeh Yach Mizmer LeDavid Yancha Adinai B'Yem Tzara Yisagev Choshem Elohei Yaakov Yishlach Ezrecha Mikodesh Umitzion Yisadeka Yizkoyer Kol Minchaisecha V'Lascha Yirash Nesela Yiten Lecha Chilvavecha V'Chol Atzoscha Yemalei Niranina Bishuasecha U'V'Shem Eloheinu Nidegoel Yemalei Adonai Kol Mishaloisecha Ato Yodati Ki Hoshia Adonai Meshichoi Yanehu mishmei kodeshoi, bigvores yesha yeminoi, ein levarechev, ve'ein levasusim, vanachnu b'shem adinoi Eloheinu nazkir, hemakor uvenafalu, vanachnu kamnu, vanisoidod, adinoi heishia, hamelech yaneinu, v'yem korenu. Torah we did, Tefillah we did. Make sure to take some coins, put it in the pushka for tzedakah, and which will bring the Geula. Talmidim, a beautiful rally we've had. I hope everyone takes something out of it. Share with your family tonight by the Friday night Shabbos meal, or the tomorrow the Shabbos day meal, and those meals are going to be in the Geula. So many people who may have not had a chance to hear this Farbrengen are going to want to hear you guys. Guys, do everything you can. Tip the scale. Bring Mashiach now. We'll see you in the Beis English tonight. By Sudas Mashiach, we want Mashiach now.